I feel like I get on this show every now and then. I kind of talk about how productive I am, you know, working a full-time job, being a musician and actively marketing the music that I'm creating, and then also creating this weekly show for you guys. And I feel like it can kind of give off the wrong message because I'm not productive 100% of the time. In fact, I think nobody's productive 100% of the time. It is not something that is physically possible in the human mind. And so when friend of the show and fellow musician Many Tiny Boxes commented on my previous video about creative burnout, I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into their comment. They said, personally, I find it very important to set away planned time to have breaks. I will work myself to death if I don't consciously decide to make myself take breaks, which leads to pretty awful mental health consequences. I wanted to dive deeper into this because this was an issue that I found myself falling into this week because, simply put, I got sick. Welcome to Monday Mornings with Kyle Reed, the only weekly show where the host will claim to be super productive but will still find time to watch an entire season of Fallout in just 3 days. Great show, by the way. Highly recommend it. Let me give you a quick little rundown of what's been going on in my life for the past 2 weeks. Last week, Friday to Thursday, I was out of town. I was on a business trip going to a conference with the company I work with. I didn't really have any time to work on any personal projects. Then I got home on Thursday night. On Friday, I had to fit in the time to create last week's video. But on Sunday night, I was feeling really good, excited to start the week on Monday, have a little clean slate for the week. And then life had a different plan for me because I woke up Monday sick. And so what I did after I clocked out of work for the day is I went over to my couch and I kind of just fell asleep. I slept for like 3 hours and I kind of woke up feeling worse than I went to bed feeling. So instead of doing what I planned on doing, which was doing this remix for Many Tiny Boxes, I just simply threw on Fallout and I watched a couple episodes of Fallout, had some dinner, and I went to bed. And then the next day, Tuesday, I woke up late. I was feeling not good. I only worked for about 6 hours until I said, man, I am not feeling this. I need to go lay down. And then so I laid down on my couch and I slept for another 3 hours. And now it brings us to today, Wednesday. I'm still feeling a little bit under the weather, not feeling completely 100%, but feeling well enough to where I can create this video for you guys. All of this to say is that for the past 2 weeks, basically, I haven't been able to work on any personal projects other than last week's video. And I honestly am not feeling too bad about it. In a situation like this where I was sick and I was clearly not feeling well, maybe working myself to the bone would not have been the best idea. And so this is why taking breaks is a really good thing, because I feel like part of the reason why I got sick was because of all the traveling I've been doing. And when I got back from traveling, I didn't take time to recover. I kind of just went straight into working on other things. This is something that I forgot to mention in my creative burnout video, where taking the time to fit in these breaks is a very important thing for you to do. Even I, with all the time I spend working and doing different projects and dabbling my little fingers wherever I can put them, that's a weird way of saying that I do a lot. I even try to find time to fit in those breaks. If we look back on last week's video where I talked about creating a schedule around your creation goal, you know, if you have a goal of creating 1 video a week, or if you have a goal of creating 1 song a month, then it is very important to, within that schedule you're creating for yourself, to fit in times where you can have a break and kind of focus on doing nothing but taking a break. My week is planned out in a way where when Sunday rolls around, I'm doing nothing, okay? I am just sitting on my fucking chair and I'm just watching YouTube. I'm catching up on all the YouTube videos that I missed for the week because I find that to be really fun. I find that to be a really rejuvenating habit for myself. And this is another thing that I want to mention, is that when you're thinking about what to do while you're taking a break, it's kind of cool to think about these non-productive activities that will rejuvenate you. And this could be throughout your day too. So another like non-productive activity that kind of rejuvenates me is cooking. I kind of coined this term here. I came up with this like 15 minutes ago. It's called rejuvenating unproductivity. Because if you're anything like me, then you're gonna have a really hard time relaxing, okay? I've talked about this, I mentioned this in the past before. When you have so many things going on, there's always something that you can be doing. And honestly, as a creator, I think a lot of us are wired in this way where there is always something we can be creating, you know? You finished up your song, time to start the next one. Or maybe you gotta mix that song. Maybe there's something you could tweak about the song to make it better. There's always something we can be doing to make us feel like we're being productive. And so when we're taking time off, when we're taking that time to relax and not be productive, it can almost stress you out a little bit. I know it stresses me out a lot. It can be really hard to kind of come to terms with those times that you're taking off. And so, which is why it's kind of important to think of non-productive things that will kind of rejuvenate you so you're ready for the next day of work, you know? And I keep putting non-productive in quotes because because any licensed therapist will probably tell you that relaxing is a very productive thing to do, especially if you pile a lot of work onto yourself. Another thing that I find very important when creating these like non-productive activities, I have these little traditions, right? Now I'm not saying that you should do drugs, okay? But I got this tradition called Edible Saturdays. Every Saturday night, I'll pop an edible, I'll like make some music until it hits, and then once it hits, I find a movie that I want to watch, and I watch that movie. And I find that to be a very rejuvenating activity for me, because most of the times watching someone else's creative work will inspire me to do more creative work. Me and my buddies, we've got this tradition called Sauna Tuesday. This is a very great tradition where every Tuesday we bake in a sauna with each other. There's like 4 or 5 of us sitting in the sauna. We're just baking in the heat. If you have friends that you want to see more, I highly encourage you to create these traditions with your friends. I don't know about you guys, but I always find my brain relaxes the most when I'm with people that I enjoy being with. A lot of the times when I'm being not productive by myself, watching YouTube or taking edibles and watching movies, I'll find myself feeling a little bit guilty. But whenever I'm hanging out with my friends, I don't feel guilty at all. So creating these kind of traditions or creating these unproductive habits within your productive schedule is, you know, in turn a very productive thing to do. So the final note that I have on here, and I touched on this briefly, is the hard part is to remember that even when you're not being productive, you're still being productive. And that's when I kind of wrote the rejuvenating unproductivity note, fire phrase, if you ask me. Feel free to throw that one out at your friends, you know. Do you have rejuvenating unproductive habits? That one will make you sound like a scholar. And yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't have the answer to this whole idea of not feeling guilty when you're not being productive, because this is something that I still struggle with. Thankfully, I didn't struggle with it this week. I think it was because I was sick, which is kind of messed up in my brain, where I have to be sick in order to enjoy unproductive moments in my life. Honestly, if anyone has any tips on how to fully relax and fully disconnect from your work when you're taking that time off, I am all ears, dude, because a lot of the times I can feel super guilty. Relaxing can be a productive activity if you're fully in relaxation mode. But if you're constantly thinking about how you should be doing work, you are not in relaxation mode, you know? So if anyone's got any tips about that, let me know. I really love engaging in these conversations with you guys. So if there's anything, any topic you guys want me to touch on, let me know. I'm writing them all down, so I'll get to all your questions, I promise. And I'll see you guys next Monday.